A lot of frustration now, an opportunity gone begging.
Yeah, yeah, frustrating afternoon for us. But to be fair, I think sometimes you've got to give the opposition credit. I thought they did great, and I watched, as a team that's just come up into our league this season and where they're located, they're probably one of the teams in the division that I knew the least about before we did our due diligence on them. And I said in my programme notes, there's been a lot of games where they've been banging and they've lost them by the odd goal. They've gone away from home and they've had some big results. Went to Hereford, won. So I knew it was going to be a tough game. And you get, I always think the games around Christmas that they are challenging. We didn't get towards the levels that we have been getting to. I wasn't particularly pleased with how we performed, if I'm being honest, both with and without the ball. I thought we were wasteful in possession, made poor choices in possession. Without the ball, looked a little bit more open than I would like us to be. And that said, we go and get ourselves in front, have a couple of other opportunities that we should. We had a couple of opportunities before we actually scored. Then we go and concede a really poor goal off a corner, which is incredibly disappointing. But then, we haven't conceded many goals at all, really, but certainly from set plays. So it's hard to be too critical of the players. But then obviously we made a couple of changes, scored pretty quickly after that, and we looked like we got a little bit more energy about us and a bit more of a threat the top end of the pitch. Had a couple of opportunities to maybe make it 3-1, and that obviously wraps the game up. And then just, a few errors and bad decisions in that top corner, not clearing our lines properly, allowing them to put the ball back in the box, a little bit frantic on the second ball, give away a penalty, which of course they go and score. And, it's a game that I would have liked us to have. It's one of those games you'd like to, where you're not at your best, just to find a way to win. And for us to have not done that, I'm hugely frustrated, as are the players. But it's another point, and we've got to just keep going.
One up in the first half that seemed comfortable, but not comfortable enough to only be one up.
No, and to be honest, I felt we were a bit in second gear. If I'm being honest, I wasn't happy with that first half performance. I didn't think we played with anywhere near enough intent and purpose. I think if we'd have gone through the gears and been more at it, I think we could have maybe took the game away from them in that first half, and that's what we wanted to do in the second half. But then you go and concede a goal, and as I say, I think they brought the 9 on for them, and he causes a lot of problems. He brought players into play. We weren't too as organised as we have looked in recent games. He landed on a lot of second balls and broke on us from there. Won a lot of set plays, and we've conceded 2 goals. We out really them. And I can't remember them having too many efforts at our goal, and we've conceded 2 goals, and that's hugely frustrating. But again, I don't want to be too critical of the players, because our performance levels have been pretty consistent and the results have been pretty good as well. So it's just one of them frustrating afternoons today, and you get them.
I guess you just have to take the positives, and the positive being at least you did get a point.
Yeah, but we want 3 points here at home, so. But we said to the players before the game, you look at the bottom 4 teams going into the game today, and we had a really tough game here against Rushall, which we won 2-1. We had a really tough game away at Marine, which we won 1-0. We had a really tough game away at Radcliffe Borough, which we won 2-1. So we knew that today was going to be really tough as well. As I said, we should have really, having scored 2 goals and got ourselves in front twice, we needed to either score the second at 1-0 or the third at 2-1 to take the game away from them. And certainly we should have had a lot more control in that game, and I never felt we were in control that game throughout. It was a bit like a basketball game, and that's not how I like the games to be. So frustrating, but it is what it is.
When there were 1,200 here, it's a bit of a strange. It just seemed a little bit of a strange atmosphere even before the game.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you said that. I am, because superb to have extra numbers here, but you wouldn't have thought it. And it's a little bit disappointing. The supporters have been fantastic. We have those who come week in, week out here when we're at home, and we have those who come week in, week out, whether we're home or away. Um, the ones who kind of just turn up when they want and willy nilly, it's frustrating. I don't really know what more people want. Last Boxing Day we were second off bottom and we got beat off Boston, and this Boxing Day we've gone into the game second off top and 1 point off top. I don't know what the results have been, so I don't know where we are now, but we've come so far in 12 months. I think it would have been nice to have had a bit more noise and a bit more encouragement. The easiest thing in life to do is to criticise. It felt really subdued in here, like we were waiting for them to score. I think, I'd have liked to have heard a bit more and get behind the team and push them over the line. Because in games like that, and there's going to be one or two more before the season ends, where you're not quite at it at home, when you're one of the teams that's up at the top of the league, everybody wants to beat you and everybody will raise the game. And it's not easy to be here all the time, especially at a stage of the season where you're playing so many games, a lot of travelling, the pitches are heavier. It's difficult for the players. When you go to your Kidderminsters or your Herefords and your Scunthorpes where we're going the other day, sometimes it's the crowd that suck the ball into the net for you and get you over the line. And I didn't feel like we had enough from them today. And, I might get battered for saying that, but it's my job to come here and be honest.
Just on players, Cody Johnson, obviously his supposed loan spell is coming to a conclusion. Is there any firm update on that at all?
No, we know that his loan is due to end on the 1st. From the many conversations that we've had, I think it's Stockport's intention, if possible, to kick him up a division and see if he can play National League. And it's not an ideal situation for us with him being pulled backwards and forwards. And I think that's disrupted Cody in his last couple of performances, if I'm being honest. And I have relayed that back onto his parent club. Very difficult for any player, but certainly a young player, to jump from ship to ship and keep his standards so high. So we said that we're going to get today's game out of the way and then we'll make a decision. I'd love to keep him because he has been fantastic for us. But it's probably a little bit out of our hands, unfortunately.
Just finally from me, obviously looking ahead to a tough trip to Scunthorpe.
Yeah, but it'll be a tough game for Scunthorpe as well, won't it? Because we're a good team and we haven't played particularly well today, but I know we'll be better when we go up there. It's always a difficult place to go, but it's one of the best places to go in the division and perform. So, the players need a bit of a rest and just to recover mentally, physically, and we'll be back in doing a good couple of days prep for that game. And it's a game that we've just got to go into and enjoy. I think if you look at the teams who are probably up there at the minute, probably with the exception of Curzon, who are obviously doing incredibly well for a club of their size. Scunthorpe, Kidderminster, they're both bigger clubs than us, and for us to be going toe to toe with them is a massive achievement at this stage. But we want more. We want to keep on getting better. We want to keep putting points on the board, and that's a game that we're thoroughly looking forward to.
I know you said you didn't know results. Well, Farsley beat Curzon, which again proves how inconsistent this league is.
Well, they came here and beat us as well, didn't they? So you just never know in this league. It's on the day you've got to perform. You have to perform, and if you're not quite at it, you can lose against any team in the division. And obviously, we've had a really difficult game ourselves here today. We've managed to get a point whilst not being at our best. Having scored 2 goals, it would have been great to have sneaked all 3.